Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be with you today, and I get the exciting part to be able to have Mayuri Parikh with me from True Client Pro. And if you haven't ever experienced this software, it's amazing, and it has so much girth to it. I always say it's on steroids, right? It's the kind of thing that puts me in the right position when I'm doing any of my event or wedding work, and absolutely love it. So I want to go ahead. Mayuri, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive into why we are doing this today.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much for that great introduction, Christy. A little bit about myself. Oh my gosh, I have so much, I have accounting background, graduated from New York Botanical Garden. I'm a florist, wedding planner, designer, own tons of rentals inventory. And then, I did wedding and events for about, I want to say 11, 12 years. And now found a lack in the industry. So I developed a software to kind of automate not just the beautiful proposals and contract, but also just lots of, nuts and bolts of the business per se.
Yes,
Yeah.
and
So
it's not new. It's just you've been working on this, and it came out right during the pandemic, essentially.
yes, it did.
Great timing.
Yes. So it did come out right in, like, literally we launched in January. We did a soft launch, and it March we hit pandemic, and I did not want to put any stress on our floral friends or anybody out there. I just wanted to be supportive, so I continue to be supportive as a florist, a planner, just joining in the groups and just kind of chat about what I was doing, because at that time I still had 40 to 60 weddings we had booked from 2019
Mm.
for 2020. And that was our previous, like, by Jan, I think we'd booked that many. Just said, okay, this is a great opportunity for us to add more bells and whistles that I wanted to. So exactly what we did.
Well,
Yeah.
and I tell you, I've experienced all of the software out there for us, as event professionals, florists, what have you. And there's just an amazing part of what True Client Pro does. There's so many nuances, small little things that make our job easier, that save us time, make us efficient, give us the systems that we need. And, today's not going to be all about all of that because there's no way we could cover it all in one time. I'm excited because you asked me to be a part of doing a workshop with you. And we put our heads together and said, okay, how can we bring the part of what designers love to do? We all love to design, right? And
Yes.
elevate design, and also at the same time teach about recipeing, being profitable, being efficient, and using the software.
Yes.
So, we have our upcoming workshop called Designing Bridal. So, do you want to talk a little bit about the workshop?
I've done workshops before, and I did not think as a software owner I was going to do a workshop. But what I continuously found was that you get education when you attend a conference or you do a
Mm.
workshop or you do a webinar, and then you're just left with a lot of thoughts and a lot of actions to do, but really not a place to make it actionable. And so I wanted to, and True Client Pro is based on the education piece in
Yeah.
itself, right? Because I always want to be free of just mundane tasks. And by that default, you end up teaching your team or your clients to do boundaries or what have you. So for the workshop, I was like, how can we do this? So this workshop is going to be not only the foundational knowledge, and the reason why the foundational knowledge, which you're going to be teaching, the master, is because I find that a lot of new florists, unfortunately during pandemic, we had a lot of experts retire early, or they
Mhm.
decided they're not doing as much. So I feel like a lot of the knowledge is kind of gone away, and we don't have moms and pops shops where you get to do like internship and you learn the knowledge of the flowers and the cost and what's available and what's not, right? So along with the techniques on how to make something, and once you learn those foundational techniques, and then now next piece is like, hey, how do we price it, right? Like how do we, not wasting time and learn how to do those pricing. And then the next piece is the recipe making and flower ordering, and flower ordering profitably, right? Not wastage, but not having shortage. So this workshop is just going to do that, right? So
Yeah,
comes in the teaching piece, and then hands-on, and then pricing, and then going into the software. I don't know if that answered your question, Christy,
it
but
does. It does. It's
okay.
going to be 3 days for
Yes.
everyone that's watching this. It's 3 days, and it's August 8th through 10th. It's in person, everyone. It is not something to follow online. We want you there. We want to talk with you. We want to work with you with the flowers. We want to work with you on the software and get you into making those recipes. But the first 2 days, I'm going to teach you about the foundations, one of hand tied bouquets, but not necessarily just about that, like what makes it secure? What makes it so that it's not going to fall apart? What makes you feel like you don't necessarily have to have an armature or something first, um,
Yeah.
like a cage or wire or anything like that, so you can feel comfortable doing hand tied just straight out.
Yeah.
Then, not only that, we're going to talk about the art of different bouquet making. We all know that there's been a huge trend with the large kind of oval style designs. And then you think about it, what happens when that goes away? Do you feel comfortable with all the mechanics that you can do, that you can do whatever your bride or the couple is coming to you and asking you for when it comes to their intimate piece that's just for them? Because that's really what is exciting when you get to decide, oh my gosh, whatever you ask me to make, I'm going to be able to do that for you. I don't feel like I have any limitations on what I'm able to design for you because you've learned the mechanics of the different styles of bouquet design. So I'm going to touch on freestyle. I'm going to touch on cascades, hand wiring, how you wire all the botanicals in the different ways, the mechanics about it, what makes the mechanics work, right? There's functional, support, and decorative. Those are
Yes.
the kinds that you have to know. But knowing the difference about how you work with those is going to be instrumental on how you make things. Learning how to use a
Absolutely.
natural support for your bouquets, right?
Yes.
So we'll do that on day 1 and 2, and then day 3 will be all about kind of deconstructing what you've done and put it into the software, the recipes, how you care and handle the flowers. There's so many nuances to True Client Pro. One of which that I absolutely love is what you do with the front end about being able to talk about the care and handling of the flowers. Will
Absolutely.
you talk about that a little bit, Mary? Because I love it.
Yes. So absolutely, I can talk about the care and handling. One of the reasons why, like I said earlier about education, I constantly were educating my team members, and I was like, how can I make this easy? So we initially started using Trello for like these care and handling, and it just wasn't working. So what we did here is for our each flower, so let's say for roses, right? So this is my process. I don't say this is going to be your process, but if you like it, by all means, and it works, it's yours, take it. So for roses, I like to cut about inch and a half at an angle when the roses come in when they're thirsty. Leave them at room temperature with the flower food. Nothing crazy, just cut them, leave them for 2 hours. And then I like to move them into the cooler to harden overnight. Then I open the packaging. So when I used to tell my team members, they're like, what did I do? Did I do this one wrong? And I was so frustrated. So what I wanted to do was I realized people don't have all the knowledge. I went to New York Botanical Gardens, so I was taught properly, right? But then you just kind of pick up more and more as you do research. And we didn't have internet back then, remember? So I wanted to take all that knowledge and kind of plug it in. So it will tell you, how do you care for it? When do you do this? So you could even add like, hey, 2 days after you can put it into the cooler. How do you prepare it? How do you restock? So restocking, obviously, roses, it's not going to be, but it can be if you bring flowers back. But this would be for your hard goods. You'll have care and handling and restocking information,
Mm.
which makes your life easier. This prints out on your pull list and prep list, which makes your life so much easier. And your team members are, number one, they're not coming back to you with 5 questions and interrupting what you're doing. Then it's efficiency, right? Because if you arm them with the knowledge, it just takes a few seconds for them to say, oh yeah, it's roses, this is what I do. That means they're producing better for you, right? Because you're paying them, so you do want to respect your company at the same time. So all
Yeah.
of that really comes into that one thing, which is our inventory, which is which connects to multiple pieces.
Which is
Like,
great because what you have is, if you've imported something and you add the care and handling, it may not be the same care and handling across the board for everyone, right? And then they can go in and edit it. They
absolutely.
can add, if there isn't anything, they can add their own so that their team or the freelancers that come in have access to knowing how to help, right? Let's say
Absolutely.
something happens and
Mhm.
you aren't there the day that the flowers are coming in and they need to be processed, but yet you had already printed off the production sheets.
Yeah.
Whoever is processing the flowers can get that done
Yes.
without having to wait and not knowing, right, what needs
Yeah.
to happen. It's amazing part of your
Yeah.
software.
And that piece is tried and true. Life happens to everyone. It sure had happened to me and my family, where one of my children needed a lot of my help. And my team literally functioned off of this because Mayuri's Floral Design was using TrueClient Pro the day of the basically inception, because these were my systems and processes. And as the program was building, my team were using it, and I was able to run all these weddings while everything was going on with this software. So yeah.
Yeah. So I think you all can get the idea of what we're doing here. You know, it's not very often that you get to go to a design workshop, learn about the design, and then learn how to immediately implement it.
Correct.
Implement it into the software that you're going to use. What's great is that anyone that hasn't used True Client Pro software before can still come to the workshop, right? Because they'll get
Yes.
access to use it. Tell them a little bit about that.
Sure. So what we're going to do is, once you guys register, we're going to send you an email and say, hey guys, just register for the software, and we're going to extend your trial only for the people who are in the workshop. So you will get access to the software earlier at no commitment. If you decide to keep it right after the workshop, you'll have another week to make a decision. Then obviously you just, whatever you've added, it's yours, and you have a lot more information to go away with. So we're going to give you early access, and you're going to be able to build all of this out with the email sequence and nurture sequence that you're going to be getting. And then we're going to work on it together. And meanwhile, you can always come to our masterclass, which happens every other Tuesday. You get on our email list, and I do Facebook Live in our Facebook group, and I'm always choosing a different topic to just touch upon, and then just be inspired by some question somebody asked. I'm like, okay, somebody asked me a question, let's touch on this topic. And then I just do a Facebook Live. So you'll be able to get hold of all those resources and more.
Yes. And
And
part of what we're learning is also how to build the recipes. And
yes,
it's not necessarily about the software at that point, but
correct.
replicating it afterwards. Having the mechanics spoken for in your recipes, knowing that whatever you're going to be paying for and you use is accounted for. Knowing how your labor is always going to be accounted for, so that when you create that proposal, you know exactly if you're going to be making money or not. But knowing how to recipe is something that so many struggle with, right?
Yes, they do.
Florists, event planners, it doesn't matter. We all have those times where we're like, okay, how am I going to put this together? What do I need? And learning how to recipe is really important. Learning how to visualize the recipe. That's why I always love to start with people and suggest to them to deconstruct something.
Yes.
And then the more they do that, the more they become a visual learner and can visualize what in their mind they need to do in order to build out a recipe. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a good example I'm going to give you is a lot of people will say, "Oh, I got this recipe from Pinterest," because, they'll have these little name of the flowers. And I'm like, then are you guessing afterwards how many of each flowers you're doing? Because it may give you 7 or 8 different types of flowers. So you got to think in bunches ordering, and are you being profitable to create that design, right? It's
mhm.
also understanding, are you designing in threes and fives and sevens, and how many stems will actually make that particular size bouquet that your bride wants, and that's going to, feed you back financially, right? It's two components to it. So we want to teach you that.
Yeah, and I think um, we're excited about this because we know how we felt when we were
Yes.
learning things, and it's been a
Yeah.
while back for me, especially. Um, but I think too, like, we're excited about just getting together with the students, with those
Yes.
florists that come, the event planners that come. So, and if you already have True Client Pro software, this is just a bonus. You're going to find out even small little nuances about the software that you didn't even know about before
Yes.
because it has that many amazing things going on. I forgot to say it's going to be in New York, right?
Yes. I was
In
just going to
Nyack?
say that. It's
Yes.
going to be in New York. Actually, it's going to be where my warehouse was, in Nyack, New York, which is right over Tappan Zee Bridge. You can take the train in from the city, LaGuardia, to Tarrytown train. There's multiple ways to get there, and it's a really cute town. So I can't wait for you guys to, come and explore the space and just be with us at Hotel Nyack.
And can you tell everyone before we decide to check out here, can you tell everyone where they can sign up for the workshop?
Absolutely. So what we can do is they can go to the website www.trueclientpro.com, and we do have a specific link. Are we able to add that into this, Christy? If we
Yes,
can.
I'll have it in the show notes able to get access to it. If you're driving and you're just listening on the fly, you can check it out at their website, trueclientpro.com. And on your Instagram, is it in your links?
Yes. So on the Instagram, it's going to be in the links, and you can always DM us if you are, in rush and you're like, "Hey, I just want the information. Drop me a link." We'll gladly drop you a link for sure. So
Perfect. Okay, well, Mayuri, I look forward to talking to you again. I'm sure we're going to have more times where we can chat about software and efficiency and growing our business, right? Because that's what it's all about. So,
absolutely, our business is so versatile that we can talk about so many topics. It's not even, it, I mean, you can talk about from legality of the business to the fun part of the business, the pretty of the business, capturing the business, and obviously the software itself, right? So I can't wait to talk to you again about all these things.
well, thanks for listening for now, and we will see you again soon, hopefully at the workshop. Join us.